back with some of the work that I've been doing on the Ancestry Tarot. Now, this has been, we're right at the beginning of this journey through the book, and in just a couple of days there's been a movement. It's quite a quick moving project. It can be as fast or as slow as you want it to be, depending on you, but when you get stuck into it, it just sort of seems to roll. It's like a snowball that gathers pace, and it starts off small, and you're getting bits together, and suddenly it starts taking over, and it's actually very eye-opening, very thought-provoking. So what have I done since I first introduced my project that I'm taking part in, my version, or my experience of the Ancestry Tarot? Well, the first video I did was on the very first spread in the book, which is the journey, how it's all sort of going to pan out, what's going to happen, and what sort of road it's going to take. Now, I do recommend, there's a recommendation that you do have a journal, and I have been making copious notes, as you can see. So this is where we started the other day, the ancestral journey, and we started this on the 15th. What is today's date anyway? I'm not too sure actually. I'll have a look in a second. 15th was that? I think it's the 17th today. Anyway, that was going through the journey spread, the 7-card journey spread, and in that, just a quick recap, we looked at we drew 7 cards. First one was me today. I got the star. The second one was the bridge that I'll be crossing to meet the ancestors, and that was the tower. Then what do my ancestors think of me? And I got the 5 of Pentacles. And then what do I think of my ancestors? And I got the 8 of Cups. So 5 of Pentacles and 8 of Cups, trying to find the real positivity in that is in a way a challenge, but it's also very thought-provoking and eye-opening, as I have said. I keep using that sort of description, but I don't know how else to describe it, because it's so deep. Number 6, the unexpected, and I got the 2 of Wands. And number 7, how will the Ancestor Tarot affect my life? And I got the Empress, so that was good. Now, the first chapter opens up, and it's looking at the different types of ancestors we have. We have ancestors of blood, we have ancestors of place, and ancestors of time. Now, I'm a bit of a note taker, and you can see I use different coloured pens for different things. So I highlight, I underline, etc., etc. But what I liked about this actually went back to also talk about going back to early man, such as the Denisovan or the Denisova and the Neanderthals, and how to this day tiny aspects of your DNA can be traced right back to Neanderthal or Denisovan man. And I found that extremely interesting, and that's something I want to look further into. There was a book recommendation in here as well, or not so much recommendation, but a book that was referred to by the author here, and that was, did I write it down? I didn't write it down here, but I have ordered it, and I'll just go back to the page here. And it was talking about going back, really far back, and it was let's see if I can find this. Yes. There was a great book published several years ago called The 7 Daughters of Eve, in which DNA expert Brian Sykes takes us back to those he calls the 7 original Eves, the mothers of us all. You'll meet those early original ancestors in chapter 5. Although they lived so long ago that we can hardly wrap our heads around it, they are still blood ancestors. So I've actually gone and ordered the book, The 7 Daughters of Eve, and I'm looking forward to receiving that. Now, in this, it explained what, what or who your ancestors of blood are, and that's all genetic inheritance. Then you have that can go, like I say, go back to early ancestors. Then ancestors of place, relatives who have lived in your familiar places of origin. But also, what really struck me and was the fact that, you know, if you travel somewhere and you feel, wow, I've been here before, or I know this place, or you feel extremely comfortable as though you belong there, there's quite a chance that when you go back through your own family tree, through your own ancestry, that you have some roots there, or some at some point somebody from your familiar line actually lived there, and it's almost like a feeling of returning home. And then we have ancestors of time, and those are people from past incarnations, which it's all very difficult to get your head around, but it's all so interesting. So then you look at how ancestors speak to you, that they're closer to us than we think, and how they speak to us. That's through smells, feathers, waking at the same time every night, significant events, music, repeating numbers, dreams, etc., etc. And then you list what experiences you've had to prove this. Then we pick the ancestors we want to work with. Now, there are 2 activities to do this, and the first one is through meditation and through using just the court cards, and actually choosing a court card that you are drawn to, and meditating and seeing how that fits with the ancestor that comes to mind, you know. Then there's another one where you can you take your courts, you shuffle them, and you draw one, you put that card face down, and then you mix the rest of the courts with the whole deck, you shuffle them, and then you pick out some more cards, and you work out, you pick out another 4 cards. So it's the first card you turn over would be the court card, so that's who your spirit guide is. Number 2 is the message. What message does your spirit guide have about your ancestral journey? Number 3 is how can I better listen to my ancestral guide? Number 4, is there a side of the family that the guide wants to help me with? And number 5, is there a specific family issue my guide wants to help with? I found them extremely interesting. That was interesting. I actually did both, and it's strange because both of them sort of link together. So the first one I drew out, let me see, let me just take you back there. You do which ancestor do I want to work with? So who might be the best ancestor for me to work with? So you pick 3 cards, okay? An ancestor of blood, an ancestor of place, and an ancestor of time. You then have a look and see, you know, for the ancestor of blood I drew the 6 of Cups, and that was really, really interesting. So what you do before you actually pick your spirit guide, you pick out, are you which vein of ancestry are you going to work with? Are you going to work with ancestry of blood, ancestry of time, a place, or ancestry of time? So for that you draw 3 cards. Once you draw the 3 cards, you interpret them and feel which one you are drawn to most and why to work with. So I drew the 3 cards. For my ancestry of blood I got 6 of Cups. For my ancestry of place I got the the Page of Wands. And for my ancestry of time I got the 6 of Wands. So how did I interpret that? So the 6 of Cups, looking back, information from the past could make a reappearance, recalling childhood memories and enjoyment. Okay. Card number 2, I drew the Page of Wands. Young, artistic, learning something new, news, young at heart, enthusiastic, wanting to go on and work away. And for the 3rd card, I drew the 6 of Wands, which is successful, victorious, achieving a goal and overcoming difficulties, etc. Those are keywords that I wrote down for myself as I was looking at the cards. What you do then, you then draw a 2nd card for each one. So for the first card, which was Ancestry of Blood, the 6 of Cups, my supporting card for that was Judgment. For me, that was amazing. And like I said, there are things that I will discuss, things that I won't, and I'll come back to that in a second. For my Ancestry of Place, I had drawn, as I said, the Page of Wands. To support that, I got the King of Swords, okay? And then for the Ancestry of Time and the Six of Wands, I drew the Queen of Wands. So all these were very good, but I was really drawn to my first card, Ancestry of Blood. Because with the looking back, the information from the past could make things could make a reappearance, recalling childhood memories, enjoyment, and then to get the Judgment card, because I've been in a particular situation where I have been making judgments, and it just sat so well with me. So I have gone down the vein of Ancestry of Blood. Okay, this is when you then will go on to working with spirit guides. Your first one. Why do you want a spirit guide? List the reason why you want them, okay? You look at the instructions in the book to do either the first choice of how you work and pick out your spirit guide, and then you have the second one using the tarot, which I explained earlier, drawing 5 cards, etc., etc. But I actually, being me, did both. I wanted to see if the first method I used, which was through meditation and writing my notes down, how things came to me, and if drawing 5 cards, if they would support each other, or if they would actually be complete polar opposites. They actually were amazingly supportive of each other. I had picked I think I know who my spirit guides are, but my spirit guide for Ancestry was a complete and utter surprise. And I have written down about that and how this ancestor it's going to be interesting to look back over family trees and find out if this person actually does exist, or if it's a volunteer that's just stepped forward. Now, when you have found your spirit guide, you then do a spread for teamwork. How are you going to work together? Well, I've just done that now. And my teamwork cards. Card number 1, and you interpret these as a whole, okay? 3 cards, I got the 3 of Cups. Then, and of course I'm using the Devious Moon, I got the 10 of Pentacles. And then I drew, complete contrast, the 5 of Wands. So using these 3 cards, how have I understood how myself and my spirit guides, how am I going to work with them on this particular project, with this particular spirit guide on this particular project? So, first of all, I always go centrally and see what's either side. So, we're going to strategize together. We're going to play, if we look here, first of all, whatever happens, we're going to be pulling in opposite directions. We're going to be celebrating. So it wouldn't be a relationship if you didn't have the positive and the negative. You always are going to need an opposing view in order to move forward and to overcome problems. If your head is telling you one thing, your heart's telling you another, sit down and listen to your spirit guide. What are they telling you? Take notes. What are they supporting? If you don't say, if you say, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, think about it. Make decisions. Strategize. I love this 10 of Pentacles because here we're looking at being strategic, playing a game, but not necessarily as opposing teams. We're strategizing, we're plotting and we're planning. But this here I took as being our foundation, as being both of our weaknesses, both of our personalities, and things that we might be opposing of as our foundation, and putting our board on there to say, how are we going to build on our opposing views or on our differing personalities? And again, it comes through teamwork, and it comes through not just being big-headed one over the other. Here, they're plotting, they're working, albeit there's a game that they want to win, they're playing against each other as a pastime, as something, because doing this work is going to be a case of moves. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? And this could also be, we look like we've got mentor and student. Do you know what I mean? Although it could be king and queen, but it also looks like this one could be teaching, this one is listening, or they're just discussing back and forth, but building on, look, we have a piece here that's hidden, okay? And that's what we need to find, is a hidden piece. Is it a cheat piece? Is it something discussing? But when we work together, we're going to have our differences, but we're also going to have times of celebration too. And I think it will be a team effort. And I think it's going to be an exciting team. So that's where I am at the moment. I have now finished chapter 1. And there's an awful lot in chapter 1. It's called Beyond the Veil. It looks at who's our ancestors. Oops, my pen. Then it goes into, like I say, the different veins of ancestry, the blood, place and time. It also looks at adoption. You do have these ancestors even though you're adopted, and it is still doable. Ancestors of place, ancestors of time. It tells you all sorts there. How it says about the ancestors being closer than you think. Repeating numbers, dreams, what messages do you think you're receiving, which ancestors do I want to work with. And also you have journal prompts in here too, so albeit I'm making my own notes, I am adding notes in my book. Working with a spirit guide, okay, sorry, that's chapter 2, working with a spirit guide. How to find your spirit guide, we've got all sorts of information here. Spirit guide spread. Why do I insist on a specific person as a guide? Now, why I don't insist on a specific person as a guide, that somebody just comes forward, and to keep in mind that when you're doing ancestral work, that your spirit guide can change. The spirit guide might think, well, I'm not actually cut out for this job, I don't really know what to do, so I'm going to send somebody else in. And when you don't know what a card means, how to look for signs, look for symbols, how to call upon your guide, and working with your guide. And that's when we've got the teamwork spread, and again, journal prompts. It gives you an example of a spread that the author pulled, asking the question, asking how to best approach ancestral work in a sacred way. So these are the cards that the author pulled: the Sun, the Five of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. And my own understanding of that interpretation is that it's going to be hard work and could have you feeling low or at a loss. Ask for help. There is no shame in that. When you ask, you may be given a sign or a boost that you're doing well and things will start to pick up. It's going to be hard work, but ask in those times that you're finding it difficult. Now, I'm going on to chapter 3, which is Tools of the Journey. So I will update you when I am working through that, or as I get to the end of it. So just a quick update on how this is going for me so far. And yes, I have had a PJ day today. Take care, everybody. We're heading into the weekend. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing, and enjoy your preparation for the holiday season. Have a good one.